everybody. Oh my gosh, I am ghostly white. Need to turn down my lighting for a second. Hold on one moment, please. Hopefully that fixes it. Let's see. No, I'm still ghostly white. It's okay. We're talking about creepy things. I'll just be creepy while we talk about it, right? Hello, everyone in the chat. Sorry about being late today. I had some things I had to take care of right at 5 o'clock. Just really quick. So I knew I could be here at 5:10. So thank you, Meant to Be, for filling in a little bit for me. Let me go up here and start saying hello to everybody. Hello, Mary Jones, Timmy Ray the King, Shanna Craft, Uncle Lisa's Productions, Aaron Jemison, Traveling Salvation, Camping Therapy, Journey via Lily's Lens, Will It Grow, Thrifty Angela, Happy Place Camping, Aaron Jemison, Our Destination, Linda Barker, William Dixon, Hitch Up and Tow, RV Ashes in April, The Scroll, James Catnese, did I say K&R Destination? K&R Destination, Cruiser Chris World Network, hello. Hello, everyone. How about that? I try hard to say hello to everyone, but then the thing scrolls and I lose track of where I am. I think I said, will it grow? My mind is not good enough for this. I apologize. Hello, everyone. First, I got something in the mail today. I thought I would show everybody. You know, I didn't get a chance to wash it yet, but I got my Gary and the Bear Daydream About Nice Things mug. I'm so excited. So excited. I'm going to get that washed up and use that to drink out of. Hi, Tim. Welcome to the chat. So, Meant to Be RVing, thank you for the raid also. I think I forgot to say that. My mind is so scattered right now. I should not try to do so many things at the same exact time of day, and then maybe I could concentrate. But 'tis the way my mind works right now. Oh, Mary, you got yours too? That's awesome. Okay, so this case, I think I've gone over a lot of brutal cases. I've heard a lot of brutal cases. But this one is a child, a little girl. She was 12 years old, Shanda Sharer. And she lost her life when she was 12. And she lost her life at the hands of 4 teenage girls. That makes it even more disturbing. And the things that were done to her make it even more disturbing, I think. So I just don't think I've covered a case like this or really heard of a case like this. I watched a 4-part deep dive series by Stephanie Harlow here on YouTube. If you haven't heard of Stephanie Harlow, she does amazing deep dives into all kinds of true crime and current true crime, unsolved true crime, solved true crime. She does all kinds. But her name is Stephanie Harlow, and I will link her when the video is done. I'll put her name in the description, so come back and grab that out of the description. But she doesn't just slightly look into things. In her 4-part series, she went into the lives of each individual person involved in the case. And anyway, it's just kind of mind-blowing. So we're going to get into it. The reason that it's called The Witch's Castle is because the 4 girls originally took the young girl, Shanda Sharer, to a place in the woods known as the Witch's Castle. And there they beat her, tormented her, and just scared the living daylights out of her, really. But we're going to get into that. So first, let me tell you who we have in the case and where the case happened. So Shanda Sharer was a 12-year-old little girl, and she lived with her mom and dad, who were separated, and they lived in Madison, Indiana. Her older sister also lived in Madison, Indiana, and they lived in this area all right around each other. Her mom and dad were separated. Her sister had moved out, but they all had homes that were close to each other. She was very close to her family, and she was a good kid. She was the typical girl who thought she was a little more mature for her age and can make some mature decisions that maybe she shouldn't have been making. But a lot of young girls do that. Then we have a young lady in this story who was not directly involved in the murder, but involved in the story nonetheless, named Amanda Hervin. Can't pronounce English very well. You all know me. But she was 16 years old. Here's how this whole thing kind of ties together, and it's important for me to talk about Amanda. Amanda was a 16-year-old girl who was having a relationship with Shanda. A relationship to the point of they had full-on sexual intercourse, and they believed they were in love at one point. They had exchanged many letters back and forth, but Amanda wasn't the greatest person per se. She hung with a really rough crowd. She was 16. Shanda was 12. And Amanda had an ex-girlfriend named Melinda Lovelace. Melinda Lovelace was having none of this relationship, this friendship, this relationship, this anything. Melinda Lovelace began to send letters to not only Amanda, but to Shanda, saying that she was going to end Shanda's life, that she hated Shanda, all of these terrible things. She had written letters. Now, I have to give Amanda some credit. She did take these death threat letters and turn them over to the juvenile services. And the juvenile services really kind of failed Shanda in the sense that they didn't do anything with these letters. They just took them as teenage drama and filed them away. So one night, Shanda decided she no longer wanted anything to do with Amanda. Amanda kind of had a record too, might I mention. She was known by juvenile services, let's say that. So one night, basically, Shanda decided she didn't want a relationship anymore with Amanda. She didn't want anything to do with Amanda anymore. Shanda was a nice person. She cared about Amanda, but she needed to move on with her life and go in a better direction. She needed to hang around better people. So she stopped hanging out with Amanda, stopped communicating with Amanda, she stopped everything with Amanda. But one night, Melinda Lovelace got together with her friend Lori Tackett. Lori Tackett was a friend of Melinda Lovelace. Melinda is the ex-girlfriend of Amanda. Melinda got her best friend or friend Lori and decided hey, we're going to go out tonight. And so then Lori got a hold of her friend Hope and her friend Tony. So you end up with these 4 girls. You end up with Melinda, Lori, Hope, and Tony. Now, everyone at school, everyone in the town, everyone around knew how Melinda felt about Shanda. Everyone. But they all kind of thought that it was tough girl talk, that Melinda wanted to beat her up. Melinda really wouldn't kill her. Melinda would just beat her up. So the night that these girls get together, the 4 of them, they're going to go to a rock concert. That's what they tell their family. And they're going to go to a rock concert. And then the girls decide they're actually going to go over to Shanda's house, and the 2 girls, Hope and Tony, are going to get out of the car and go knock on Shanda's door and tell Shanda that Amanda is waiting for them over at the witch's castle. And she wants to talk to Shanda. Now, why she would want to talk to Shanda, or why Shanda would think Amanda would want to talk to her when they hadn't had any communication or any relationship for so long, I'm not sure. But Shanda said, no, I can't go. I'm not allowed to go. And the girls were upset, so they said, I think she forgot about us. I didn't forget about anybody, I promise. So the girls go back to their car because Shanda said she couldn't go. And then Melinda's in the back, and she says, no, go back up there and tell her that we'll come back later, and then we can meet up with Amanda later after her parents go to bed. So they do that. And Shanda reluctantly agrees. But she says that, if everything works out with her schedule and things like that, she will go. So Melinda, Lori, Hope, and Tony go ahead and they go to this rock concert that they had talked about originally. Now, might I add, Melinda, Lori, Hope, and Tony were in the age ranges of 16 to 14, I believe. So they were still quite a few years older than Shanda. So they go to this rock concert, and Melinda and Lori are enjoying the rock concert, but on the way to the rock concert, I gotta back up. On the way to the rock concert, Melinda shows everybody that she has a knife. Hope and Tony ask her, why do you have a knife? What's the reason for the knife? And Melinda says, I'm just going to scare her with it. At this point, Hope and Tony said that they didn't really feel comfortable with this, but they didn't know how to get out of this. I don't know. If my friend had a knife, I would probably bail at that point, but that's just me. So they get to the concert. Melinda and Lori go into the concert, and Hope and Tony go into the concert. But Hope and Tony at this point are feeling very uncomfortable. It's hot in the concert. They go out to the car. They're in the car. And they see some boys that are in the parking lot. It's cold outside. The boys ask if they can sit in the car with Hope and Tony, and the girls allow the boys to sit in the car with them. So while in the car, the girls tell Hope and Tony, tell the boys what their friend is planning to do. The boys say, this is not a good idea. You need to leave. You need to come with us. We'll take you home. I guess stranger danger didn't exist back then. Like, why are you letting strange boys in your car? I don't know. But these boys offered these girls a way out of this situation. But these girls said no. They didn't want to leave their friend. So they stayed and waited for Melinda and Lori to come out. So Melinda and Lori come out, and they head back over to Shanda's house. So they get to Shanda's house, and this time Shanda agrees to go. They say that Amanda is still waiting for her, so she can tell her this important thing that she needs to tell her. So Shanda gets in the car, and when she gets in the car, Lori starts questioning Shanda about her relationship with Amanda. Did you kiss her? Did you have sex with her? Did you do this? Shanda, thinking these are Amanda's friends, is honest. And she tells them, yes, she did indeed have sex with her, and yes, they are very close. Oh, in the back of the car, covered in a blanket, was Melinda Lovelace. At this point, Melinda Lovelace gets up from underneath the blanket, holds a knife to Shanda Sharer's neck, and it's on from there, basically. The four girls begin to torture Shanda. Now, all four girls' stories differ at this point in the whole thing. I break them up into two groups of Hope and Tony, and Melinda and Lori, because Hope and Tony claim that they really didn't do a whole lot. That they sat back and didn't really participate. They watched. They may have called her a name. They may have punched at her, but they didn't stab her. Melinda and Lori fully admit that they stabbed her, punched her, all of the things. So, who knows? But Melinda and Lori and Hope and Tony in the car torment her. They get to Witch's Castle, and they're in a circle going around her, tormenting her. They take her Mickey Mouse watch off her wrist, hold it in the air, and play the music on it, mocking her. And they take her rings off her fingers, and they hand them to each one of the girls. They take her smiley face shirt that I guess one of the girls had, and they go to burn it. Well, at this point, when they burned the shirt, they were afraid someone would see it. So they put Shanda back in the car. The part about the Mickey Mouse watch breaks my heart, because when you hear Mickey Mouse watch, you think of how young this girl must have been, how innocent this life was. So they put this girl back in the car. She's beaten, she's bruised. She's had four girls beating on her at this point. They get her in the car. They throw her in the trunk of the car. She's in the trunk of the car. She's screaming. She's yelling. They take her down a deserted road. They get down to the deserted road. Lori and Melinda get out. They get her out of the trunk, and the stabbings begin. She's stabbed multiple times. She's bleeding. They believe that she's next to gone at this point. They put her back in the trunk. They drive around some more. I think at some point they go to a gas station. They end up going... Oh, they did think she was gone at this point. Sorry, my mind blanked out. They think she's gone at this point. They think they've killed her. So they go back to Melinda Lovelace's house or Lori's house. I don't remember that part. They go back to one of the two girls' houses. Oh, Lori's house. They go back to Lori's house. And they're inside, and the girls are cleaning all the blood off themselves. And now I want you to think about this story as I'm telling it. They went to the witch's castle. This happened in Indiana in the hillsides. So there's a lot of long distance kind of driving. So I want you to think about the length of time as I'm telling this story. So they go back to Lori's house, they go inside, and they're cleaning the blood off of themselves. They're cleaning themselves up. And they hear dogs barking. Papa Drew, this isn't a happy. This is a true crime night. So they hear the dogs barking. They go outside, and they realize she's alive. She has survived the stabbings, the multiple stabbings, and she's alive in the trunk. So Melinda or Lori, I apologize because this is where I get confused at this point. Melinda or Lori sends the girls back in the house and says, I'll take care of it at this point. And she says, I'll deal with this. And she sends them all back in the house. And she gets out the tire iron and she finishes her off. When she goes back inside, she brags about how she could feel the tire iron enter her head. She again cleans herself up. At this point, Melinda and Lori, after cleaning up, get in the car to go on a country drive. Hope and Tony stay at Lori Tackett's house. They are done at this point. They don't want to be a part of it. You're already a part of it. They stay at Lori's house. They don't want to go for a country drive. Melinda and Lori decide to go for a country drive. A country drive with Shanda in the trunk of their car. They presume she's dead at this point. So they go for a country drive, and as they're driving around, they hear what year was this again? Let me look. 1992. So while they're driving around, they hear her start to kick and scream again. This girl was so incredibly strong. She was not going down without a fight. So they pull over, and there's two boys that live in a trailer up on the hill, and they're looking down and they see the girls have pulled over, and the boys yell down, do you need help? The girls said, no, it's just the muffler. We're fixing it ourselves. And they decide to drive further out because they didn't want to get caught with the girl in the car. So then they believe at this point, after driving further, once again hitting her with a tire iron, they believe that they have killed her again. So then they go back to the house. By this time, it's morning. They're outside. Hope and Tony have rejoined them. They're outside by the fire. They're thinking they're going to clean this up in the fire pit. However, Lori's mom comes out, asks, can I make you breakfast? And at the same time, they again hear Shanda in the trunk of the car. So they quickly tell Lori's mother, no breakfast. I got to get them home. We're going to go have breakfast at McDonald's. We're going to go have breakfast at McDonald's. So they hop in the car and they go to leave again. At this point, they decide, Melinda and Lori decide, Hope and Tony at this point are kind of just riding along and not telling the adults that are around them what's going on. They get to the gas station, or they decide at this point they're going to burn her. So they go to the gas station and they buy a Coke. They pour out the bottle of Coke. They fill it with gas. And at this point, Tony gets out of the car and makes a phone call to a boy. When asked why she made this phone call, she said, I needed to calm myself down. Did she tell this boy what was happening so he could call the police? No. Did she have an opportunity to call the police? Yes. Did she? No. At this point, I believe Tony and Hope were just as involved. So please, as I tell this story, do not think that these girls just sat back and were innocent in this whole thing. So, all 4 girls go down a country road with Shanda. They take her out with the blanket, they dump her in the road, and stab her a few more times, and then pour Hope at this point pours the gasoline on her first, on the blanket. And then she is lit on fire. Then they get in the car, they drive away, and then they return because they believe that the fire was not big enough, that it may not burn long enough. So they go back, they pour the rest of the gasoline, they throw the bottle again, and they throw the bottle this time in the fire also. And then they drive away thinking that everything is done, nobody's going to know anything. And they go to McDonald's to have breakfast. While at breakfast, Lori calls her friend and tells her friend, "You can't tell anybody, but guess what we just did?" Now at breakfast, they made a pact to not tell anybody what they had done. These are teenage girls. Every single one of these girls told somebody what they had done. They told their friends, they told significant other, they just told all of it. They told everybody. It was like their bragging rights to tell people what they had gone out and done. Now, we're going to get to the part where Shanda is discovered and how these girls got taken down. It kind of comes together in 2 forms. So Hope and Tony had kind of come to the conclusion that they wanted to stay away from Melinda and Lori at this point. They didn't want to go anywhere near them. And then at the same time that they were deciding that, they went to a bowling alley to have kind of a private conversation. They knew at that bowling alley they would be safe. There was older kids that if Melinda and Lori were to show up, they felt safe there. At the same time that this was happening, there was some hunters going out down that country road that they had taken Shanda. At first, these hunters thought it was a mannequin and a joke being played. They realized quickly that it was not. So they called the police, and the police were able to identify, this was a person, and started to try to figure out who it was. At the same time that all was happening, Shanda's parents realized she was not home. She was missing. And they called in and reported her as a missing person. Now, Hope and Tony were at the bowling alley. They looked upset. 2 boys walked up to them and asked them, what's wrong? Do you want to talk about it? And at this point, like I said, these girls didn't mind telling people what they had done or what they had been a part of. These girls confessed to these boys what they had been a part of, what they had witnessed. Not fully their part in these crimes, but what they had witnessed. The boys advised them that they should go right away, and talk to their parents and tell the police. The girls left the bowling alley. One girl told somebody, her parents, and a lawyer was hired. The other girl told her parents, and she went to the police department. which was Tony Lawrence. Hope. I'm sorry. Hope went to the police department. Yeah, Hope's the one that went to the police department. No, sorry. I'm sorry. Tony Lawrence went to the police department. Hope had an attorney and wasn't speaking. Hope's attorney advised her to go to a motel and go into hiding. Tony Lawrence went to the police department to confess, sort of, what had happened. At the same time, the two boys that the girls had told at the bowling alley called in and reported, or went into the police department and reported the crime. At this same time, the coroner was trying to figure out who this person was that was found on the country road. So all pieces kind of fell together, and they figured out that Shanda was the person that was on the country road, the girl's story. It all fell into place. The girls, though, even though Hope and Tony went in to begin telling their story, they didn't tell the truth. Like I said, Hope was hidden away in a motel until the very last minute that she could stay out of jail. Melinda and Lori had to be brought in through arrest. They all pretty much lied on each other. It took a long time to figure out the case, but everything I just told you is kind of what came out in the case, except for if you thought everything was disturbing up till now, the next part I'm about to tell you is even more disturbing. They had molested Shanda with the tire iron. To this day, they still don't know which one of them did that to her. And then, as I told you throughout this entire story, Shanda was so strong and such a fighter. Shanda was alive when they burned her. She had died from smoke inhalation. No matter how much they had beaten her, stabbed her, done all the horrific things they had done to her, her final thing that killed her was being caught on fire. And had she had any of these girls chose to have gotten her help, chose to have went against their friends, they could have saved her. So now I'm going to kind of get into where this is now and how they were charged, because I think that is extremely interesting at this point too. The girls were, Tony was used as like a police, she was given a lighter sentence due to her being the one that come in. So she came in, she turned on her friends. So if she gave her story, then they would offer her a plea bargain. So Tony was given a plea bargain. Hope was given a lighter sentence than Melinda and Lori because Melinda and Lori had more involvement. Basically, I'm not going to give exact dates because I don't have that part written down. I wish I did at this point. But basically, the girls were given not life sentences. They were given around 20 years and served part of that sentence. There are clips on YouTube of Hope Rippey and the mother of Shanda coming face to face. Hope did not serve out her whole sentence. she was released on good behavior. And the mother had requested only one thing out of these girls, that they serve their entire sentence. They didn't do that. Hope spent her time in jail getting every degree that she could get. She went to school. She did arts and crafts. She, lived it up and spent her entire time in jail fighting to get out of jail rather than spend her time there doing what she needed to do. And by do what she needed to do, I mean serve her time for the crime she did. So they were all given pretty light sentences. And as a matter of fact, this happened in 1992. And all of these girls are currently out of prison. Every single one of them. Melinda Lovelace, who was the leader, though, and the one that started this whole thing, she was the jealous girlfriend of Amanda. She's the one who came up with the plan. She's the one that had the knife. She's the one that was the main one. The reason that I chose this story is because the mother of Shanda and Melinda, there's an incredible turnaround and an incredible act of kindness at the end of this story. So, Melinda spent her entire time that she was supposed to serve in jail, according to the judicial system. And while she was there, she started working with the dogs. There's a program where you can train dogs while you're in prison, and then you give those dogs to disabled people. And Melinda became one of the best dog trainers in the prison and was known for being able to work with the toughest dogs, the dogs that had the problems. And the man who would bring the dogs and was in charge of this program was a burn victim. He had been burned himself. After reading over Melinda's case file and knowing what she had done to that girl, he needed to sit down for himself and talk to her and find out why. If she had changed, if there was, if this program was really doing something. So he sat down and he interviewed her. The interview, there's clips on YouTube as well. He sat down and he interviewed her and he realized, wow, this is powerful. She has changed. These dogs are changing her. And he thought, I'd like to donate a dog to her in Shanda's name, but I want to do that with the permission of the mother of Shanda. Shanda's mother had not been able to forgive any of the girls, which I don't think I would ever forgive any of them. But at this point, she hadn't forgiven any of the girls or offered any kind of olive branch in any way. I don't blame her. But the man took the video of the interview to Shanda's mother, and Shanda's mother viewed the video and was blown away by how much Melinda had changed and grown and was showing love and patience and kindness and emotion where she hadn't been able to show emotion before. So Shanda's mother ended up donating a dog named Angel to be trained by Melinda in prison. And through that, I think that Shanda's mother was able to heal. I think that Melinda gained some healing, and someone was able to gain a service dog. So there was this amazing turn of not only was Shanda so, for me, when I was doing this story, when I was researching it and going through it, not only was I thinking, wow, this little 12-year-old girl who's going through all of this, yes, it's disgusting and it's horrible, but the strength this girl had to keep fighting was incredible. And then you get to the end of the research, the end of the story, and you find out that the mom had that same kind of strength because she was able to take the main perpetrator in that story and give a little bit of kindness, even when it wasn't deserved at all. So it was a pretty remarkable story. And like I said, it's a 4-part series. This took me 40 minutes to get through, just giving the very short version of this story. But there is a 4-part in-depth series by Stephanie Harlow. And I will link that in the description when I get done here. But that wraps up this story. I know it was pretty graphic, but I hope that we all learned something a little new today. And I'm sorry, when I do the true crime stories, I can't really read the chat. I can glance at it sometimes and see some things, but it's hard for me to read the chat. So let me go back up now and see what everybody is saying up here. How do you find murder partners? What the hell? I get the mob, but just, hey, can you help me do something? Yeah, traveling salvation, I don't understand that at all. I really, really don't understand that. When Hope met with the mother on Dr. Phil, and they spoke, the mother asked Hope, like, how could you do that? Like, what caused you to do that? Like, why did you do that? And Hope said, I think I was just a weak child. I didn't grow up in an abused family. I didn't have anything bad. I didn't have a bad childhood. She said, I think I was just a weak child, willing to go along with people, willing to go along with what was happening around me. And there was no excuse for it. And I just thought, wow, I can't imagine willing to go along with murder. It's terrible. And you're hearing more and more about that with teenage girls. I haven't heard as many teenage boy stories, but I've heard a lot recently in the last 10 years of teenage boys doing things, or teenage girls doing things like this, not teenage boys. Teenage boys killing girls, yes, but not their friends, or not people they thought were their friends, which is scary. It's hard enough when you're in high school or junior high and you're trying to figure out who your real friends are, and you're worried about the gossip they're spreading, let alone wondering, oh, could they kill me one day? I mean, and that's kind of more and more where things, scarily enough, kind of are right now. It's scary. Hello, Captain and Britain Farm Homestead. Happy place. Right, okay, traveling salvation. That's the thing I was thinking too. You said seeing people do more time for drug possession. Yeah, there's people in jail for marijuana longer than these girls were in for murder. It's like, what is wrong with our judicial system? Now, the judges gave the maximum sentence they could possibly give according to law. So the judges didn't go easy on these girls. However, the way that the law is set, that's all that they could do. And Papa Drew, I know that you like cake and you like happy stories. And most of the time I do Mad Libs and Sunday is trivia. So super happy times then. But I like doing the true crime every once in a while. Because like Shanda's story deserves to be heard. Because yes, there's murder involved in the story. And yes, that part is sad. But the strength that girl had is incredible. And the strength her mom had in the end is incredible too. I think those are powerful parts of the story. Van Life with Gina Payne. These girls were just crazy evil. Yeah, they've all been released, and the mom of Shanda told the girls the mom of Shanda told the girls that what she wished for them was that they had to hear Shanda's screams in their nightmares for the rest of their lives and be haunted by her. And so when Shanda's mom met with Hope on the Dr. Phil show, she asked her, "Do you remember what I said to you at court?" And Hope said yes. And she said, "Has that come true?" And Hope said, "It has." And so she was asking her if Shanda's haunting her, and Hope said that she was. Again, that mom is powerful, and her words are powerful. It's pretty incredible. Our destination, thank you for supporting me, even though I know it's hard to hear. Yeah, it is a really rough story. Definitely is. Hi, Johnny's Journey. How's vacation going? Are you enjoying your vacation? Thrifty Angela, I did see you shared it out. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Oh, Chris World Network. You said that is Lori that gets the tire iron and takes care of it. So, have you heard of this case before then? I see you said it's not a happy ending, but it's a good story though. Have you heard this story before? I think oh, and Van Life with Gina Payne, thank you for sharing it out also. I really appreciate that. Oh, and somebody else just sent me a story to do. I will look into that. Thank you. I appreciate that. If any of you have stories, you can always email them to me, and I will definitely research them and get to them. Sometimes I can't get to them right away, but I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. Captain, I saw you have a thumbnail up for your new show coming up with your friend. I am super excited for it. I think it will be fun, and I could use some laughs, so I'm excited to listen to it. So we have about 10 minutes, and then we'll be rating New Horizons. Until then, we have a story going. We all add sentences to the story. Let me get to the page here. This week's story. Flipping through my notebook, I see horses just drawn in here, randomly drawn in my notebook. Wonder why there's horses in my notebook, Uncle Lisa. All right. So this week's story is Little Bit went on a crazy adventure. Oh, you know what? I came 10 minutes late. That's right. Okay, I'm going to read this story really quick, and then on Sunday, if anybody wants to add sentences, they can. I came on 10 minutes late, so it's actually my time's over. Like I said, I'm a bubblehead sometimes. Okay, Little Bit went on a crazy adventure. She went deep in the forest and found a fairy village. She came across a beautiful horse. I looked around to see if I could find anyone that might own that horse. She knew it belonged to someone, so she painted it candy apple red and began telling people that she bought it at Crazy Harry's used horse lot. Okay. Ray, you'll have to go back and rewatch it. All right. I was late getting on here. So everybody head over to New Horizons, Traveling Salvation. I will look into that. Thank you all so much for joining me for our true crime night. Wishing you all much love and much kindness. Please forgive my bubbleheadedness. Bye for now.